Hi, this is Jordan Hill with Dirt to Sky Business Podcast, and I am here with Matt. How are you?
I am great. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. We have a mutual friend in the professional space, Ellen, and she's been on this podcast.
Ellen is amazing.
She's amazing. and I met you for the first time in person at her event yesterday.
Yes.
But I know she's, brought you in to her business, and we can talk about that in a minute. But she said, Jordan, you've got to have Matt on Dirt to Sky. You have to.
That's kind. We love Ellen. We just think her ability to create community, to connect people, her sort of audience and ability to bring people together is just really, really special. And we were very privileged to be invited and of her business. So that's where we sort of have spent a lot of time looking at Cubicle to CEO.
Yeah. When she said that, I was so curious about your business, and just knowing that worth, your business worth, has brought so much value, and people look at Cubicle to CEO and wow, what an amazing business, that she's built. But there's so much behind the scenes, and Worth has been behind the scenes. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's always nice for us to see the outward expression and the creativity, but also know what's happening behind the cogs of the business. And we always think that finance is sort of that first level. We think about business as a tree and like success being the world sees as success, but under the layer is finance. And, when we think about finance, that's the lifeblood of the business. It's not the most important part. Lots of people think it is, but if you're looking to spearhead a vision or are on mission to do something, you need the finances to work so that you can impact more people.
True. Yeah, exactly. If those roots aren't strong, then you can't. It won't sustain, and then you can't help anybody build your dreams. So, all right. Well, I would love to hear a little bit more about who you are, and then also just kind of your journey leading up to founding Worth.
Absolutely. So my name's Matt Budden. I've got a funny accent, as you can probably hear.
I didn't notice.
Whenever I say that here in the US, everyone's like, "Are you from Texas?" I'm like, "Okay, no." But I grew up in South Africa, in Cape Town, which is at the tippy tip of the African continent. I went to an all-boys school there, which is very traditional in South Africa, and then went to the University of Cape Town, where I studied to be an accountant. I would say that was definitely not my... that doesn't really align with who I am as a person, but I'm a very ambitious person, and a lot of my friends in South Africa, job security is something that's really important. And so most people in our sort of year groups either go and study law, accounting, engineering, or become a doctor, just because of the security around that. And so I actually started my degree in marketing because I am a creative. I love being creative. And then I saw all my friends moving towards what we call chartered accountant or chartered accountancy, which is similar to a CPA here.
Okay.
And I was like, well, if everyone else is doing it, I should probably do it too. And so I actually switched courses. And as much as it was important for me to do that, it wasn't that I just did it because everyone else was doing it. There is a layer of credibility in the chartered accountancy designation in South Africa, which puts you in the rooms with leaders of business. And so what's really excites me about business is getting to work with leaders, spend time with them at a very high level strategic standpoint. And so that was the beginning of my accounting profession. I went through what I call a quarter life crisis. Through my creativity, I've always been very, very interested and passionate about music. And I started a band with a couple of my good friends when I was in college. To be honest with you, I'm often seen as the hype man wherever I go. And so I can't claim that I'm the best musician, but I had really great musician friends. And so we started a band called Opposite the Other. And in South Africa, it actually did relatively well.
Wow.
When I say we, I'd already left the band when we had some really big success, but we opened for the Lumineers, we opened for Bastille, we got to play at Kirstenbosch Gardens, which is a really, really cool venue in South Africa. And so I was at this crossroads of my life of going, am I going to take this risk of being a musician, a bit of a rock star.
Yeah, I'll be looking up opposite the other after this.
And I mean, I still have a really great friend who is leading the charge there, and is a great singer-songwriter. But you know, I had this opportunity of this uncertainty, and then this very certain life of accounting. And here I am sitting as an accountant, so you can understand where I sort of led. I fell in love at a similar time to my now wife, and so. You know, those conversations and thoughts at a young age, like there's this dream, and I still think about my life. What happens if I had pursued that as a big picture? And now looking where I am, like that was, you know, no decision was wrong there, but I'm very happy with the decision I've made.
Right.
And so after when you become a chartered accountant. You have to do a 3 years internship post your studies and do some board exams. And so I did that in a corporate finance team at a medium tier firm in Cape Town called Moore Cape Town. And I was in their corporate finance division. So my focus was on valuing businesses and then doing what they call financial due diligence. So when a business is looking to sell or buy, we were sent in to try and lift the hood of the business to see what was actually happening. Okay. So it's once again, I wangled my way because most people have to go into this auditing route. And I found a way to still qualify as a chartered accountant, but in a more strategic way. And that's where I met my business partner now, Matt Smith. He was in the same division as I was. I really enjoyed the work. It's very interesting. You know, it's always great to get that understanding of what makes businesses tick, what are the process and systems, but it didn't feel very personal to me. And maybe going back to my conversation on the band, you know, you would often think when you're performing in front of people are very interested in who you are. But the thing that I felt I lacked in that space is that people did want to know you. They wanted to have photos with you. They wanted to talk to you. But it was very, very high level and wasn't very intentional.
Right.
And there's something about me and my upbringing that feeling, emotion, relationships, connection is really, really important to me. And so in my corporate finance experience, in the band experience, I didn't feel like I was getting that at the level that I was hoping for with sort of working alongside founders, leaders, entrepreneurs. And so I left that firm post my articles and joined a fractional CFO firm, which had an office in South Africa and in the US.
Okay.
And we always wanted to sort of pursue potentially moving overseas and going on an adventure, my wife and I. We tried to go on secondment with our articles experience post my articles, but COVID had other plans. But we had this opportunity through this business to get an opportunity to come here to the US. And so during that time, Matt had also moved across to this business from our previous firm, and we were elevated to leadership and sort of working within that business for about 2-3 years and to the US. So that kind of gives you a big picture of the sort of journey to where we are just before we started Worth. And, you know, outside of work, I'm highly passionate about, like I said, sport, music. I love my triathlon, which we share, which is really exciting. And, you know, they always say, don't tell someone that you do triathlon because all the triathletes will just start speaking about those things. And yeah, I love to be on my bicycle. I love to be with my little daughter and my wife, to be outdoors. We live in Colorado now.
So beautiful out there.
It's amazing. Yeah. So we've recently moved there and are just loving being there. Yeah. So maybe it's helpful. I don't know if this is a good time to kind of just share how then we moved into Worth.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And
absolutely.
Yes, you know, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've got an entrepreneurial spirit. You know, once again, there's this element of risk and uncertainty. And as an accountant and in the financial realms, like you often don't take that chance.
Right, exactly.
And I would say we didn't really plan for it. We unfortunately had a moment in that business which caused us to feel like we wanted to leave. And Matt and I have always wanted to do business together. He's one of my best friends. Yeah. We've worked together now for 10 years, which has been really, really special. And we actually met a woman named Caitlin Carlson, who also knows Ellen. And so to come full circle, she was a client and a colleague. She's a personal wealth advisor. And she said, you know, I would really like you to partner alongside us because we know if businesses do well, people have more money to invest on the personal nature. And so if you can look after our clients from a business perspective, we will also benefit. And so she's been a huge advocate for us.
Right.
And so that was sort of the building blocks of Worth. Now, to say that is, Caitlin works predominantly with female entrepreneurs. And so 95% of our client base are female entrepreneurs. And so Matt and I always say we're the thorn amongst the roses here. And we really, really enjoy it. I think, you know, the work that we're doing is we call ourselves a financial boutique. We provide what we call fractional CFO services. So why is that important to understand? Well, in most businesses, people can, you know, bigger businesses, corporations can afford a CFO full-time and a controller and a bookkeeper. And, you know, that looks like $500,000 worth of compensation or salaries for those team. And what we realize is that entrepreneurs don't often have great creative flair, businesses and offerings, but they lack the ability to decipher and understand what the numbers are telling them.
Right.
And so the way that we are framing this is we are part of your fractional sort of executive team, looking at your business from a financial lens and helping you strategically think about, well, if this is what the numbers are telling in terms of a story, how do we use that to move towards wherever you want it to go and think about the future?
Right.
So you know, I don't want to really compare genders, but there is this nature of like relationship that is really important, and walking a journey and dreaming alongside a client that's really important to us. And so, you know, where often men can be very structured in their efficiencies and like wanting to know the numbers, there's this more holistic approach which we're taking, you know, be it male or female in who we serve, where we are walking a journey, understanding what that business owner is wanting to achieve, not only professionally, but personally too.
Right.
And how do we build a business and a team and a structure financially and operationally around that? And so, you know, that's our focus. It's very relational. We will always say we're not looking to scale this business significantly. We're looking to go deep with our clients, walk a journey with them. You know, we would say that our job is well done, even if you grow into having full-time help internally. That means that we've done our job in getting you there. And so, yeah, we just feel really privileged to be stewards of founders' finances with leadership in how to build and scale sustainably.
Wow, that is amazing. And I love that you do add in the personal goals and the relationship instead of just, you know, going over the data and the numbers and, you know, and here you go, you know. And so now when a business hires you, are they usually in trouble by that point? Or do you suggest that you should go in early before they're in hot water, or kind of?
It's a great question. You know, I think there's some elements here that are really important that I believe every business should have. Like right from the beginning, you need to have clarity of what your numbers are telling you. Like you know, so many business owners, and this is by no fault of their own. This is just not their sort of zone of genius.
Right.
But the focus needs to be like, you need to understand and have clarity of where you are from a numbers perspective. Even if that's just a bookkeeper making sure to keep on top of your accounts so that you have an understanding. We often, you know, there are times that we come in urgent situations and people are like, I'm in trouble. How can you help? What can we think? Often the time is that people are actually doing incredibly, incredibly well when we come on. But they're getting to a point where, you know, we always think about business as viability, growth, maturity, and then wealth accumulation. Those are sort of the 4 phases.
Okay.
Often when we think about that initial person, they're in the viability stage. They're trying to test their product or offering to see, is it valuable to customers? Where we come in, or the sweet spot for us, is when you're moving from viability to growth. You've got to a point as a founder where you're going, I'm doing everything and I actually just can't keep up. I've got too much to do.
Right.
In the marketing arm, I've been the sales arm, I'm operating, I'm servicing clients. Help. Like, I don't know how to do this anymore.
Right.
And so our role is to think about, you know, big questions that founders are asking early on at that stage is, how much can I spend on bringing on a new team member? Or where do you think I should spend this money? Or I keep just reinvesting this into marketing. Like, how do I make it work? And so we are dissecting a lot of the numbers around that, but less so focused on what's happened in the past, more going, well, what's going to happen in the future and how can we help you make good decisions so that it sets you up for success.
Wow, I think that's really great. And I love that you're focused on the future. Like, where do they want to go? Are there ever business owners that haven't really fully pictured that and might need help getting the clarity? Like, have you seen that? Or
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think there's this beauty. That's why it's so nice for someone who's an accountant who has an entrepreneurial spirit, because one of my biggest passions is to dream. Okay.
Right.
And like we know that founders are very optimistic people and they love to dream and they love to think about what the future looks like, often to the detriment of themselves too, where it's like, is that realistic? And so there's this fine balance of like, how do you dream alongside someone, but also hold them and be like, this is probably more realistic. You know, often people come to us with really sort of, I don't want unsettling or unhappy feelings towards accountants.
Oh, okay.
Based on, you know, I had an accountant who was sort of slapping me on the wrist, telling me I shouldn't spend you and I can't do that and I can't do that. And, you know, there's a fine balance. Like, we have to be good stewards of your business. And so we have to tell you when things are so great.
Right.
But a lot of the times we're getting excited with you saying like, well, this is the vision. This is where we're going. And this is how we can get there. Let's pave the way for you financially on how you get there. There are often times that founders don't know where they really want to go just yet. And then we help them think through that. We are thought part. Founders and entrepreneurs, what is the biggest sort of hindrance for them often, or the things that they say that are the hardest, is the loneliness of like making decisions by themselves.
Right.
We are often, we sometimes feel like psychologists or facilitators. They're asking good questions in order to help people get to what they really want. And I suppose it goes back to the whole holistic approach. Very big focus for us when we bring on new clients is we do what we call a holistic discovery call. And what it does is it looks at you as a person. Like, what is your purpose? What are your personal and professional goals? And through that, it's very quick and easy for us to decipher what's really important to this person.
Right.
Even if they're not 100% sure on the vision, we know that if someone says, I'm working long hours, I never get to see my kids, I don't know where this business is going. The big thing we know is, well, family's important to them. They're feeling like they're stuck doing everything. I mean, getting more of that capacity and freedom back in order to invest in both their relationships personally, but still obviously operate a sound business.
Right. Yeah. Do you work long-term with your clients, or is it just, several sessions, or?
So we're looking to be on a journey with a client. So it would be, we want to be considered a trusted advisor when you have a big decision to make from a business perspective. Right. If you're phoning us or you're wanting to get on a course, that's when we feel like we're bringing value. We feel like we are part of the team. We are 100% aware that clients may outgrow us, but we do work on a retainer-based model. Right. So the way it works for us is a very intensive strategic onboarding where we building out forecasts and budgets. We're getting to understand you as the business owner and as the business. And we sort of have our benchmarks and methodologies that we've developed for different types of businesses, because every business is different, sort of different structure and different industry and phase. And so we're talking a lot about, well, as business owners, often we don't even know what is good or what is great or what is efficient. And so we're able to put numbers to that in a bucket allocation method. So we kind of say, if you are this kind of business and you're trying to build this amount of team, this is how much budget you actually have to spend on your labor. And this is how much you have to spend on marketing. And so we're trying to create simplistic, we don't want to be those financial bros who speak big jargon. It's like really distilling it down, simple, like think about efficiency, let's think about growth, let's think about wealth. Like, and how do we decipher those things? Yeah, it's usually a long-term journey with a client, and we know that they will sometimes outgrow us. We do also have our project-based ad hoc offerings, which would be the valuation work some of our clients are looking to sell that many people haven't gone through that process as entrepreneurs. And so we walk a journey with them of trying to help them negotiate and be there at the table with them, make them feel supported.
Yeah. So the valuation is that's essentially like appraising a business. Okay.
So very similar, you would often look at real estate too.
Right.
There's a way to sort of value, and there are different methodologies that we look at when we look at valuation.
Yeah.
A lot of it is, really important for founders and entrepreneurs to think about, once again, the future, and you're thinking about where you're going and discounting that value back to today and giving a value. So it's a great, I always say, many people come and say, well, valuation is only used for when you're looking to sell.
Right.
I think it's one of the best tools that a business owner can use, because what it does is many people think it's only about financial performance in the valuation.
Right.
But when you think about valuations, it's mainly financial performance is obviously a big part.
Right.
But there's a risk factor. And when anyone's looking to invest, you've got to consider the risks. And so if you're able as a business owner to identify the risks early on and what you can work on and understand those are key drivers to more value, it helps identify what those things you need to focus on.
Right.
And the biggest one that everyone is always going, at least that the clients we work with, is this idea of succession and sort of reliance on owner. And so, it's a great realization. Often we as A-type personalities are wanting to be in control, and we always think we can do it better than everyone else.
Want to be needed,
and want to be in the front of clients, but understanding that by relinquishing some of that control, like investing in your team, often builds more value, and from a financial perspective.
Right, exactly. Have you read the book Cash Flow Quadrants?
I haven't read.
Okay, it's really good. It's been a while since I read it, but it basically talks about the differences between from employee to business owner. There's a few other categories, but talking about how much more valuable it is if you stepped out, would your business run the same, whether you're working, present or not? And I thought that was really good. It really caused me to think, like, man, if I got sick, or something happened to me, everything would fall apart. Like, how valuable is that? Not really,
And it's a really hard one, specifically in a service-based business. So, when we think about our business, where is our value? It's with our people.
Right.
Like, without our people, we can't sell anything, really. Yeah, there may be some processes and systems, but it is so important for you to be thinking about, what happened. One of the questions in our valuation offering is, if you took a 3-week holiday, how would your business perform?
Exactly.
So it's a really nice way to just think about,
Yeah.
well, are we moving? Are we scaling? How are we doing that sustainably? Because, at the end of the day, when you do exit your business, and you will exit your business one way or another.
Right.
And so we're always trying to plan for an exit where you can crystallize some of that value rather than just walk away from your business one day.
Right.
You've got to be thinking about like succession and how do you build the people around you.
Yeah, that's so good. What is the vision for Worth? Like when you went for your vision and like where you're going, I'm kind of curious about that.
It's a good question. So we have, which is quite interesting, very focused on culture and values-based decision making. When we think about our values, we're thinking about creativity, which is very weird for an accounting firm because not many accountants are that creative. And when I say creative, what we're trying to do is to create new ways of this industry. So, in finance, what is the sort of theme is you work long hours, you work late into the night, there's sort of hustle culture, late, not real balance in life.
Right.
And so we're trying to create a lot of that for our team. Our other core functions is like, how do we create magical moments for our clients? So the way we're trying to do that is everything, no one really wants to get on a call with their accountant, a pretty boring call.
Right.
And so we're trying to find ways to make it more meaningful. So, we try and do little things when you get on a call with a client. And sometimes it resonates with clients. And sometimes other personalities are like, can we just get to the numbers? And share what we call a magical moment where we share some sort of video or something that is moving or has some meaning, and we ask the question. We want to get to know you deeply. So there's the creativity, there's the human connection, which is that part. We like really want to be a part of the team. And then there's excellence and teamwork internally, which is really important. So the way we've been growing is very, very systematically. We sort of tier our onboarding so that we only bring on a certain number of clients a month, just so that we can bring great value. And so the vision right now, and this is the beauty of small business and entrepreneurship, is you're agile and you can move, is this isn't a scalable business in the sense of like we wanting to impact people broadly. We want to impact people deeply. And so the way we're setting up our business, and, you know, I speak quite openly about succession planning for owners and say, like, relinquish some control. That's a really hard part for us too.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, it's easy to tell someone else that.
Yeah.
But for us, it's really important. So, you know, our focus right now in terms of the vision of Worth is to bring on new team members, and for Matt and I to sort of rather remove ourselves a little bit from the client-facing roles and be more focused on the development of the people in our span of care.
Right.
And so really coach and mentor, and through that have more impact. Most of our strategic leads, we call them, will only hold 10 to 12 relationships, and we cap it at that just so that they can deeply understand each client. So we're using this business as, you know, it's, yes, obviously every business needs to be focused on financially being sound, but we really focused on impact and how we can impact people's lives, not only found, but also our internal team. And so we're really trying to create a space of inclusivity, cohesiveness. We want people, you know, we serve a lot of female entrepreneurs and mothers, and so a lot of our team members are becoming mothers. And so it's like really exciting to be a part of ensuring that they reach their potential and have a life-giving life themselves. That's Worth. There obviously are other opportunities that we look at. You know, everything's really uncertain with technology, and a lot of our processes are becoming more and more efficient, which is great. Right. Which just gives us more opportunity to do the more strategic, human-centered relation. And so focus for us is moving more into sort of culture and leadership development. A lot of the clients that we have are great entrepreneurs, great business people, but have never had to lead teams and don't really know where to start.
Right.
And so we're walking a journey with them of how do you build a culture, and everyone's culture looks different, right? That's based on the values of the people in the organization and what you're trying to achieve, and what works for one company won't work for the other. And so there's this beauty in finding other ways alongside the likes of getting involved in deals and sales, which is exciting for us. It's a little bit more, it's not as consistent, but it gives us a lot of energy to be involved in those sort of projects. So Worth, you know, we have 3 T's in there, and what Worth, the 3 T's in Worth stand for is transform tomorrow together, and that's what we're trying to do. So transforming the founder, giving them an understanding of what a people-centric business looks like and what's sustainability looks like. Tomorrow, obviously, we always focus on the future and what we're trying to dream and hope for.
Right.
And together is the partnership element. You know, the difficulty and the beauty of it, of the work we do, is we are fractional, and we're an advisor, we're a partner. We can't do the work for you,
right?
But we are here to be there alongside you,
right?
And there's that nature of like really honing in on, we want to be a part of your team. We want to know what's stressing you out. We want to know how we can help. You are going to have to go and implement it, but we're going to do this together, and we're going to be in it together.
That's beautiful. Have you ever been hired by a client that you ended up terminating the relationship or declining to working with them? Are there some, you must look at their core values as well, and decide if it's aligned with you?
That's a great question, and it's something we've had to be sort of tasked with. You know, it's a very fine balance and line that we tread as founders, because every client in the early stages is really important. You know, if you want to have a sustainable business, you've got to have clients. But Matt and I have been very, very focused on what is important to us and our values and our integrity. We've had moments historically where those things have been tested, and so you know, I always say, people often ask me, well, what is the best thing, or what is one of the biggest pieces of advice, at least from my experience, that I would give business owners? And we do work with sort of single founders a lot of the time, but the biggest benefit that I've had is to have a partner in Matt. And it's not easy to find the right person. So, and I would never say rush that, but we have had a great ability and cohesiveness of balancing each other out. And, you know, what's really nice is when I feel like we must go, he's like, let's slow down and like, let's just focus our attention. Like, is this the right decision? And it's been awesome to have that when we do feel convicted about something, that we can share it with one another and go forward together. And so there have been several sort of cases early in our business. And I suppose it gets a bit easier when you become more established. And I don't want to say that we pick and choose clients, because we definitely don't. We've been so fortunate that we have a pipeline and we have great people working with us. We we just want to actually hang out with them as friends, let alone just be their advisors. But there have been 2 instances where clients have been doing things that aren't really aligned to with what we would encourage them to do and to focus on, and we had to make the difficult decision to say, you know what, I don't think we're the best team to serve you. And that's not to say, there may have been legal, there may not have been legal in some cases. There's still, there's different levels of integrity. I don't want to say integrity, but of what's important to us, where we just don't even want to toe any sort of line. And so, it's been I think that is what it resonates with other people too, specifically in the accounting profession. When we share often people ask us that question, and when we share that with a potential employee, they're like, wow, like, okay, that is meaningful. That's important to me too. And obviously you're treating people with similar values to what you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Something I say just in the real estate world is your vibe attracts your tribe. So it's like, if you're authentically you, and then it will naturally attract the people that you want to work with. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. And when you're hiring, it's probably very similar. What do you look for when you're hiring?
It's we're going through. We are, like, as much as I say we're not scaling, like, we are growing, and we do have these amazing, like, once again, families are really important value to us, and so we've got our team who are having families. Got to think about maternity and paternity leaves, and we've got to bring on teams to support that. We're always hiring for character. We believe we can coach and teach people the technicalities. What really needs to resonate is the things that are important to them in their lives. It's a very different space to what a lot of our profession has experienced. Like, we are way more casual than a corporate financial firm. We have way more flexibility, where you can be more on and off, and you do have more work-life integration, or whatever you want to call that. So it's really important, but it's, some people thrive in the environment of a lot of structure, and so some people don't. So there's, what we're looking for is very much focused on character and things that are important to you, and the things that you value and do, those align with the things we look at. Most importantly for us is, can you be relational? Because building relationships and connection with people is, trust is everything in our business. And so when you're meeting with a client, like, how are you making them feel secure, supported, understood, like, and there are times that we don't even speak about finance on calls. We're speaking about much bigger business relations, or even some personal things that are impacting your business. So there needs to be some sort of emotional intelligence in the way that we hire. But then it's also just important for people to have this excitement and joy of bringing new ideas to the table. There's no real hierarchy, or we want to collaborate. We know that the way we do things isn't the only way and the best way, and so we're looking for people that are better. And what's that saying is, if you surround yourself with people that are not as smart as you in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so we're trying to find that in our team and growing. So definitely focused on character, definitely focused on people who can hold relationship and can connect with people well, and are authentic. The way that I connect with you may be different to a way one of our other team members connects with you, and that's beautiful in its own right.
Exactly. Is it from the way you were raised, your family, that it's so ingrained in you to have those deep relationships with your clients and friends? Or was it something like, how is that so instilled in you, do you think?
It's a good question. I mean, I've when I go to therapy, I often talk about this as like an interesting one of creating connection. Connection's always been an important part of my life. I think it's something about inspiring and energizing people towards like a common cause is is what I'm really interested in, and like trying to bring people together and connecting people. And me, like a lot of my life, I would probably say I'm a very emotional man. So like I'm very happy to like I want to feel life.
Right.
Like, I want the highs. I want to feel them. The lows, in the moment, I never want to feel them. But I do, like after that, it's like this is what being human is all about. And like that is a lot of what we speak about is people-centric. Like, how do we make really great moments for people? How do we create this magic? Because those are the things that I remember. I don't remember all these targets being hit. I remember when someone came forward to me and said, "You changed my life." And so, you know, I think about the question upbringing, very relational with my family. You know, a lot of, maybe this is an overshare, but a lot of my life with like my mom is like, I've always wanted to be in connection with my mom. And even, you know, like when I'm not in connection, I'm working very hard to be back in connection with everyone. And so there's this innate nature of mine to be like, how can I connect? What is, like, let me be curious about this person, to be in connection. And I think that, you know, that comes through now in just, I never thought I would be an accountant. And, you know, if you had to tell me that I would be sort of co-founding an accounting firm, I would say, no, I want to be creative. I want to be around people.
Right.
And yet now there's this awesome opportunity, which I'm still learning and growing. Is like, this is just the platform. Like, the space, and that's the catalyst to have exactly what I need and want and crave, like to be known and to know other people.
Right. Yeah. I think that your story and your business is a great example. I know a lot of listeners kind of have that learned skill that might be mundane or just kind of the not sexy side of things, like accounting, like, you know, that might just, you know, but you've incorporated your vision and your passions into that, and it, you know, you probably wake up most days and you're excited about what you do, and that's really inspiring, you know. So.
Absolutely. And I think it's there's something also about dreaming and sort of putting that out, like that is where I get my joy, is like to share in your vision and to think about, you know, I connect with you because I'm like, wow, like you're doing such incredible work, like that is so amazing. And you know, to be a part of that big picture and get to dream with other people is just something so, and like you said, the foundation is accounting. That's the lens in which we're seeing everything through.
Right.
But, you know, my mind and my perspective was so small before being able to be like, how do I bring in my gifts and talents to this very boring,
right,
well, at least what people think is boring. Lots of people do find it exciting.
Yeah.
There are those
and
few.
it is so necessary, of course.
Yes, exactly. And so, I mean, that has been a benefit for us too, is, you know, I would say there are a lot of companies that don't have the stickiness that we do have. Everyone has to, or, you know, it's important to know your numbers, to be compliant, to file your taxes at the end of the year. And so there's a stickiness of that compliance element for us. And then we get this opportunity to have like the joy and wonder of, okay, not all accountants are boring or like, oh, I can't believe this. You know, I got off a call the other day with a client who is in LA running a child therapy center. Like,
oh, wow.
I'm like, this is amazing. Like I get to experience her passion and the way that she's building this business through her. And at the end of the call, she just said something that was just, it was by no means something that like, you know, this is what I've done. She just said, I felt so understood. And I'm like, man, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we are trying to do, is to help you feel understood, to feel not scared about where you're going and what you're doing. And to be, like I said, you know, whenever I go back to my band days, everyone called me the tambourine man because I actually played the tambourine. And everyone's like, why are you on stage just playing the tambourine? I was like, getting excited and being a supporter for someone and helping them find that confidence in themselves and their vision is really powerful.
Yeah. And so you're also you've started another business called Matches, which, you know, takes some of the elements and the skills and the things that you've learned and done with Worth. But you've started Matches. Can you tell us a little bit about what's to come with that?
Absolutely.
It's very interesting. I loved hearing about it.
It's a passion project. You know, I would like to consider myself someone who thinks about big ideas all the time, and what it looks like in my head may look like what it will come out as, but that's the beauty of artistic expression and process, right? And so Matches also has 3 T's in it, and it's a very common theme in all our ventures, just because that's kind of what we're trying to do, is transform tomorrow together. I think Matches has an even bigger meaning for me. I have an incredible grandfather who's still with us today. Big personality. My name's obviously Matt, and he calls me Matches. And so I have fond memories of sitting around a fireplace where we used to go on holiday in South Africa at the seaside, and just hearing his stories. And so there's this element of storytelling and connection that is ingrained from that early age. I was probably like 3 or 4 years old, and matches as well, the actual physical matches, is a really great, I like to live my life through like visualizations and like tokens. And for me, it's a really powerful image of like what leadership looks like too. One person, a small little match, can create a fire or impact other people's lives, inspire other people. And at the same time, there's a huge responsibility as a leader. Fire can be really destructive. And so there's this imagery that's sort of, I don't want to say igniting this vision, but igniting this vision. And Matches, the app that we're building, I have a great team of developers in South Africa who are helping me build this, is a platform. And it's probably you could probably explain it as some sort of social media platform, connection platform. It is not going to be a dating app, but perhaps you find your loved one on there one day.
I was going to say, it's more meaningful.
I think it also stems, from me moving from South Africa to the US, and you leave community, and it's hard to find, especially as you get older. Luckily for us, we have a little child, and so it's easy to connect with parents. But for people who are moving and changing work and moving into new spaces, it's like really hard to make friends. Before COVID, there were spaces that you can do that. Less so now. And so what Matches does is it's very focused on you as a person and the things that are important to you. And so I'll quickly give a description. What happens is when you download the app, you have a profile builder and you play a couple of games. The games are focused on finding out what are your top values. They look at your timeline of your life. So you will sort of outline exactly some of the big experiences that life has already shown you. Be it moving different countries, be it getting married, having a child, losing a loved one, going through a traumatic experience. And what that's doing is not trying to get it's trying to get as much information from you, but also trying to understand your shared experiences with other people. And then the last element right now, well, there'll be 2 more elements, but the one element is your shared passions and interests. We know that we connect with people who are in similar spaces. So I came here, Jordan, we met yesterday, we had a good chat. As soon as I know that you do triathlon, I'm like, oh, we can chat about this, like this is, got into it. And the last element, which is going to become a very important element, is this give and receive. I always want people to not go into things thinking about what can we get out of it, but also go in there with like, how can we support and give? And so these 4 games will kind of display what is most important to you, what have you experienced, what are you interested and passionate about, support other people. And it will start, but the big vision for this app of Matches is that you will be walking around town, and as you walk, something will pop up on your phone where it's a really strong match of shared value, shared passion, shared life experiences. And during your week, the hope is that this is a very engaging app. During the week, you're answering questions that are continuously being refined and getting to know you as a person. And then eventually what happens is when you get that match, it gives you a question to go to this person and ask them and be brave and say, we know about triathlon. I'm like, have you seen the latest release of this felt bike or whatever it looks like? And to create a natural conversation and move someone into conversation early on. And then you have a new connection with a new friend or new community and getting stuck in. So we're trying to look at loneliness. We're trying to look at connection. We're looking at meaningful relationships. And once again, like part of my desire and dream is this idea of creating more magical human moments for people.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. And I think that, I know that, we go through life and maybe we see someone at the store and we just carry on, where there could have been that special magical connection, but it's you don't know how to start the conversation because you don't know those things about them, but that could be something really beautiful. And so I'm really excited. Do you have like an estimated like completion date?
So we'll definitely have a sort of MVP by probably the next month or two.
Oh wow!
So it's definitely on its way.
Gosh.
There's a lot. I would say I'm the visionary, hasty one, being like, come, let's go.
Right.
My development team is very much like, this takes longer, Matt. So they are just making sure that my expectations are met. But, the space that we really want to focus on initially is just events. When people invest a lot of money to come to events and to learn and to grow, often there are people in the room there, and that's just a nice sort of container of where people can be connected and find, I come to an event and I don't know anyone, to know as soon as I get in a room with someone, we have something in common and we can chat about it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that was kind of like the event we were at yesterday. We all knew, that there was at least 3 things that everybody had in common there, and it was so meaningful. And I did walk up to people and I'm like, what do you do? What's your name?
Exactly.
But in the middle of, a store or a coffee shop,
you'll never know.
It'd be a little weird.
Yeah.
We should do it, but it'll be. So I think that Matches is going to be amazing. I'm excited about that.
Thanks.
I'm going to be watching your page, just waiting for it.
I think the hardest part for me is where does real connection happen?
Yeah.
And real connection happens like this, across a table from one another, or in a group of people. And so the big part and the big grappling and tension that I've been working is, how do we keep that relationship through Matches off the phone? And so the way we're trying to do it is that you can connect, but you can't necessarily text back to that person. And so we're trying to create creative ways of making sure that the essence is, I want to know you as a person. I know that I've got something with you and we share something.
Right.
And there may be a match that there is that shared passion, there's that shared life experience, that the shared values, but there's another element that we don't connect, and that's also okay, but it's creating the opportunity and the potential. A lot of the conversations we're having is like, how do we, that's also a match for me, is like, how do you ignite potential?
Yeah. Well, before we wrap up today, I could sit and do this, listen to you for like 3 hours. But before we wrap up, I would love to hear just your biggest piece of advice, or something that everyone listening, as they build their businesses, what would you want to tell them, if you could tell them anything?
Oh, there's so many things. I mean, I know I said that the partnership thing is a big thing for me as a person who likes to be in connection. It may not work for everyone.
Yep.
I think then just moving down to that conversation on valuation as well, of like succession planning. There's I've heard this saying from a coach and mentor. His name's Matt Budden. Time is the currency of leadership. And so one of the big things that I'm always trying to do is make sure that the person in front of me feels that, and that, it's always so easy when we all know as founders and business owners, things are busy. Right. You're running from one thing to the next. But how do you realize that those things can wait and focus on the person in front of you and give up your time? Then we go one step further. There's the time, the currency of leadership being time, the currency of human being storytelling, and sort of more stories. And tell more stories and let people in on those stories. And then I suppose the last thing, and it comes back to, a lot of these things that I'm sharing are very much important to me. It's very relational. It's very much people, human-centric.
Yep.
I don't know if you've read a book called Everybody Matters by a guy named Bob Chapman. He's a CEO of a company called Barry Wehmiller. And he had this epiphany of, he went to a wedding and sort of the dad walked the bride down the aisle, and as she was walking there, he just realized the weightiness of that father giving away his daughter, and like what we're trying to instill in that vision is everybody that works with us and alongside us is someone's precious child. And so like, how are we treating people like that? And once again, I go back to this idea of our business isn't very scalable. And a lot of people, do we have a very successful business? I would say it's pretty successful. It's had impact, and financially it's done well. Lots of people say you're so lucky, like it just happened for you.
Right.
And I keep going back to the sense of, yes, there's definitely fortuitous. We've been able to do that, but only through relationships. And so when we were working for other companies and we were toiling and not probably being sort of remunerated for our worth, it was so much bigger than that because we're investing in the relationships. And what came around down the line was that, and when I share that with the listeners, I would hate for people to go into relationships and connections like that with the idea that you're going to get something out of it. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you are authentic, if you are real, if you do show up as yourself, often that may come down the line. And so my encouragement to the listeners, if you're in a corporate role, if you're a founder, if you're a team member, thinking about this is like, just focus on the people in front of you and make sure that is really important in the way that you go about your work. And I think if you do that, it'll stand you in good stead in building more relationship, new connections, and set you up for more opportunities, getting you in, and once again, not for the sake of getting you in the room, but getting you in the room.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I learned a lot. I know everybody listening will be really inspired, and everybody check out Matt. Well, how can they find you?
They can find us on social media. I'll say that we're not significantly on the worth side. I said this to Matt the other day. We go on a client roadshow at the end of the year and we go and visit all our clients. Oh, wow. And, most of our clients are very big in the marketing space and they're doing things. We don't market at all. We're very lucky that we have referrals. But I said to Matt, please can we hire someone to just post for us while we go on this roadshow? Because I just want to remember those moments. They're such special moments. Right. So you can follow us on Worth. You can also, which is Worth with 3 T's, so WORTTTH. Then you can follow me. I've got a personal profile, which is Matt_Budden, Budden. And then my more professional, where I'm sharing a lot of these ideas and trying to be more sort of intentional on the people side of business, is Matt.Budden, Budden. And if you want to join, I've also got a newsletter called Matches. So you can follow me on LinkedIn and we can get stuck in and I can share that with you. But it's been so good to be here. Thank you so much for creating the space, and love the work that you're doing too, and just inspiring the next generation of founders, and we need it.
We do. Yeah. Thank you too. And thanks for being here. And thank you for listening to the Dirt to Sky Business Podcast.